Quick follow-up to our last video because now there's news that Flory Bidunga might come back to Kansas after entering the portal. So we're going to react to that real quick as a follow-up to our last video about Flory Bidunga entering the transfer portal.
You are Locked On Jayhawks, your daily podcast on the Kansas Jayhawks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up? Derek Johnson. This is Locked On Jayhawks. Thanks for making it your first listen every day. Thank you to everydayers catching each and every show. Thank you if this is your second listen. Quick follow-up. Flory Bidunga entering the transfer portal. Now we hear from his guardian that he might come back to Kansas. This thing is a mess, and I am already kind of over it at this point in time. It is quickly turned here on the show. So we're going to break this down on a quick little bonus episode of Locked On Jayhawks, talking a little more about Flory Bidunga and possibly coming back here. This episode of the show is brought to you by Fabric. Life moves fast, especially when you have one family. One day you're watching your kids take their first steps, and before you know it, they're off to college. That's why securing their future is so important. Fabric by Gerber Life makes it simple to get term life insurance that fits your family needs. With Fabric, you can apply for term life insurance online, right from your couch. You can be covered in under 10 minutes, and in many cases, no health exam is required. They offer more than life insurance too. Fabric also offers free digital wills and access to investment accounts to help you plan for your children's future. Join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their families. Apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. That's meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. Policies issued by Western Southern Life Insurance Company, not available in certain states. Price subject to underwriting and health questions. That is Fabric. Okay, so for KU, this story continues to get a little bit weirder as Shreyas Laddha sent this out from the Kansas City Star. It says, this is from Dylan Kraft, which is his guardian, his handler, whatever you want to call him. He said, quote, Flory will enter the portal with intentions to return to Kansas. After discussing this as a family, we've decided this is the best decision for Flory's future. We evaluate our options and are open to the return to Kansas. Okay, so a couple things to look at here. One, we are open to it goes a couple ways. It goes back to something we just talked about in the last episode. I am still approaching this like Flory Bidunga is gone. I'm still approaching this like Flory Bidunga is in the portal. Maybe this gives you a sliver of hope that he could come back, but I don't see Bill Self as being, and I wouldn't play. I honestly, if I were in Bill Self's shoes, I would probably be like, if you enter the portal, you're gone. Like, no offense. Like, good luck to you. Good luck moving forward. Good luck wherever you find out. But like, yeah, that's you can't do it. You can't just like, I don't know, building a roster. Like, how do you do that if everybody's going to do that? And you understand it from his camp if he's just like, hey, I'm going to cash in. I want to get a big payday. But like, I don't think you can operate that way if you're KU. So from their perspective, I wouldn't be surprised if they just move forward at the same point in time. Is this an opportunity for you just to make a quick negotiating tool and try to offer more? I don't know what it is. But the fact that this goes into we've decided this is the best decision for Flory's future. This comes down to money for me. This all comes down to money for me. They want more money, whether it's from Kansas or from another school. We are open to the return to Kansas. That plays as a leverage play. That plays as a opportunity to get a bigger payday from both parties. Let me tell you why in just a moment here on Locked On Jayhawks. This episode of the show is brought to you by Prize Picks. Baseball season's in full swing, and there's no better way to get in on the action than with Prize Picks, the best place for daily fantasy sports. With Prize Picks, you pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and if you're right, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash, whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs. Prize Picks keeps every game exciting. You can build your lineup. You can pick Aaron Judge more than 1 home run, Shohei Ohtani more than 1 stolen base. It's fast and simple. Setting up a lineup takes less than 60 seconds. And when you win, your payout is quick, safe, and secure. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONCollege for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game with Prize Picks. Okay, so this is a money grab, I think, from both parties, right? The idea that he could return to Kansas allows Kansas to stay in on the bidding, so to speak, right? It allows Kansas to, if he ends up going to an Auburn or an Indiana or whatever, for Kansas to jump up the number so that he gets more to go to one of those schools. From the flip side, if this is, if in the handler, in the guardian's mind, they're thinking, hey, we want to get this kid back to Kansas. We just want him to make more money. what better way than, we were threatening the transfer portal, but Bill Self stood a firm line. Okay, well then you're going to stand up to our threats. Well, then we'll go through with it. We're going to put him in the portal. And now you see that it is really close. And now we have these other schools who come calling. We have these other schools who are offering us stuff. Now, all of a sudden, you really have to listen to us and give us more money if you want us to come back. The thing about this, though, that makes me continue to think, so again, this all goes back to the idea, I guess, first of all, that like this is a money grab. And we were having that conversation in the previous episode. Again, check it out if you haven't. Thank you to the everydayers and stuff for listening if you already did. The idea that, I guess, how much of this is on KU, how much of this would be on Bill Self, like what is this about? It's clearly not about role or opportunity or chance to go pro, things like that. That is not what this is about. He was going to have all those things at Kansas next season. This tells me more. It is about the handlers, the guardians, and the money and stuff like that. And again, I think Flory Bidunga is a really good kid. So I'm not putting blame on him with this. I think this is probably the people kind of surrounding him, so to speak. And this isn't like his actual, parents. These are the guardians. These are the handlers. This does happen time to time in college basketball, probably more than time to time, where, you get some kind of crazy handlers. And in some cases, Kansas has been able to work through that and gotten some awesome players out of it, right? In other cases, we've had situations like this arise. And so this kind of like, I don't know. I think I would still approach this if I'm Bill Self as if you just have to approach it like he's gone. And if you do find a way to make the solution and he comes back, then great. But also at the same point in time, like I said, is this just a hard stance line where you're just viewing this as a coach of like, no, like at this point, like I'm just gonna, it's not just that I'm assuming he's gone. Like I am saying he is gone. We are not, once you enter the portal, like you're out of here, right? Like we can't operate that way. We can't operate that way. What precedent does it send if you enter the portal for 2 days, get a big offer, and then come back and now I pay you double what you were going to make, or 100,000 more than you were going to make? What precedent does that send for every other player on the team not just to do the exact same thing? Maybe you could say, well, this one's different because Flory, has the potential to be this and that, and he's this good player, and if a role player tries doing that, Bill Self will be like, okay, fine, then leave, right? You don't want to set that precedent. So I find this very, very interesting. Final thoughts on this in just a moment here. This episode of the show, though, is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Daylight savings snuck up on us again, and if you're feeling that lost hour sleep, 5 Hour Energy has your back. The extra sunshine means more fun, but sometimes you need a little boost to power through. Whether you're staying up late watching the NCAA tournament, squeezing in or out of golf after work, or just trying to keep up with your busy day, 5 Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up wherever you need it. You might be staying up late watching college basketball. You might be staying up late watching Flory Bidunga highlights, wondering what could have been at Kansas. Well, head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack delivered right to your door. Need one right now? Grab a 5 Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized with 5 Hour Energy. Okay, final thoughts. So where do we go from here? Again, I think you just kind of move forward as if Flory is not going to be part of the roster. I don't think you can kind of operate this way in the transfer portal, and I wouldn't hold it against Bill Self for doing the same. At the same point in time, if there's a quick resolution to it, right, if you're able to get him to come back and work it as a miscommunication or yada, 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 then great, because I do think Flory will be a stud wherever he is next season and will take a big jump from where he was. But clearly, this is already kind of a shattered relationship now between Bill Self and their guardians. And, maybe it is kind of irreparable at this point in time. But it definitely makes it feel like less of a, like, it's almost like you feel like it's less of an issue then for KU, because it's like, okay, you didn't do something completely wrong here. You were going to give the guy starting level role. He just wanted even more money, right? There is that element of greed that kind of comes in now. And I guess this is kind of where we're at in the transfer portal. And, this probably wasn't the first time this has happened, whether it's been at Kansas or other schools. This probably won't be the last time either. And going back to what we talked about earlier, like if you're Bill Self, you have crap like this happening, like, are you just more likely to be like, you know what? Maybe I don't want to be coaching that much longer. Maybe I do want to pull a Jay Wright. Like maybe next year is my last year. Maybe I only want to do this 2 more years, right? And you're gone. And certainly wouldn't blame him for that either. So Flory Bidunga is officially gone, even though I he says he could come back. I don't really know if I totally buy into that. And I certainly would be surprised if that was the outcome. But I guess we do have to keep our minds open that is a possibility. And if that does happen, we'll break it down right here on Locked On Jayhawks. See you next time for another edition of the show, anywhere you get your podcast and on our YouTube page.